Okay, we got the shifter all installed. I shortened the 10mm bolts, or actually 6mm with a 10mm head, because the ones that Tremec puts is like ½ inch too long. And where I was, I'm good now.
Welcome to a new season of Sam's Garage. This week, we're crossing the finish line on the 76 Nova, and we're doing it right. We're swapping out the automatic for a Modern Driveline TKX 5-speed, fighting through the hydraulics, bolting in Summit Racing tubular control arms with CPP coilovers, and finishing it all off with a fresh set of bucket seats. It's the build that's been taking years in the making, and today it's done. Let's get after it. The 76 Nova is back, and it's time for the swap that changes everything. We're ditching the automatic and dropping in a Modern Driveline TKX 5-speed, complete with high-performance clutch, hydraulic throwout bearing, and every measurement dialed into perfection. Let's get manual.
All right, welcome to another season of Sam's Garage. This season, if you guys haven't paid attention in the past, we have a 1976 Nova we've done a lot of work on. And it's finally time for its final modifications, which is a auto to manual conversion. It has an LS engine in it. And then after all that performance, it's got to be able to handle. So we're going to go to Summit Racing and we're going to upgrade the suspension and lower the vehicle at the same time. It's at the stock ride height. In the Nova, first thing we did was remove the bench and we removed the transmission so that we can get to all the parts that we need to install the Modern Driveline manual conversion with the TKX 5-speed. So the person you saw help me with the bench and the transmission is a good friend of mine named AJ. Back when they were filming Fast and Furious 7, the production company called me up and said, Sam, I need 4 Arab-looking mechanics because we're going to be doing the Abu Dhabi scene. So they picked 4 of us. We went up there, we got in 4 jumpsuits, and they picked 2 of us, me and my older brother. So when you see the 2 orange jumpsuits in that scene, that's my brother and I. Very cool. So that's why AJ was helping me. Unfortunately, Julie was not here, but she's here to help me reassemble everything. All right, so when you guys are ordering your parts from Modern Driveline, it's important that you tell them the specs of your vehicle. So in this case, what's gonna matter is the clutch and the composites on both sides of it. As you can see, this is a high performance clutch. It's got different material on one side than the other. That's gonna give you a lot of grip with less chatter. Also, anytime you guys are doing a clutch install, whether it be in a custom application like this or whether it be OEM, you always wanna take your clutch disc and check it with your splines. Make sure it's correct. You also want to take your throwout bearing or bushing, whichever one you're going to use, and make sure it fits per your application. All right, let's go ahead and install it first with the flywheel, then we'll go ahead and put on our clutch kit. All right, so when you guys are measuring the clearance for your hydraulic bearing, you're going to install the bell housing, install the clutch, and this is the surface of the transmission. So we're going to measure it with a straight edge on that surface. We're going to go to one of the teeth on the pressure plate and get our measurements from the distance of this to the tooth. So this tilt and release bearing that Modern Driveline provides is the highest quality release bearing you can get to go inside of a bell housing of your transmission. There's an O-ring inside there that's going to go around the shaft of the transmission. You want to make sure to lube that O-ring. If you don't, it'll roll on you. Now what we want to do is transfer the measurement, or 3 1/32, and you want 20 to 200 thousandths depending on who you are. And then once it's installed, you can actually look through that hole and you can see the air gap so that this only spins when you engage or disengage the clutch. Now let's say you guys want to do an auto to manual conversion and the bell housing part and the clutch kit, everything is good to go, and all you want is a 5-speed transmission. As long as your bell housing adapter can hold it, Modern Driveline has a very nice new product that is an external hydraulic unit that'll work off the original throwout bearing. We showcased it at SEMA. It's a very nice deal, so if you're interested in that, check out their website. When we come back from the break, we're gonna go inside and install all the hydraulics. But before we go, check out that cross member. It fit perfectly. This is a 76 Nova. Nobody makes anything for it, but I went and got everything for an 81 Camaro because everything's the same up front, so it worked out just fine.
Sam's Garage is presented by NHOU. Brought to you by the following companies: Welcome back to more Sam's Garage, presented by NHOU. The Nova's clutch and transmission are in. Now comes the hard part. We're tackling the hydraulics, and that means pulling the hood, yanking the brake booster, and carving out a space on the firewall to fit a master cylinder that was never meant to be there. This one's not for the faint of heart.
All right, guys, it's time for the hydraulics. And you know, Modern Driveline doesn't have an application for a 76 Nova, but I told Bruce that it's the same thing as a second-gen Camaro starting from 1981. The worst part of this whole job is gonna be the clutch pedal. The clutch pedal bracket is sandwiched between the steering column and the brake booster, so the brake booster has to come out. To get the brake booster out, you gotta take the hood off. Then we went inside after the brake booster was out and we fit this piece to make sure that there is nothing here when I drill that hole. This is occupying the speedometer cable hole. It's not the same shape, but I used a hole saw to get my round hole, but if you notice right here, it tapers up. So you gotta take a little Dremel and get yourself some clearance up here. So Modern Driveline supplied us with a nice set of pedals for a second-gen Camaro that's gonna fit in this guy. They've even given us the pads for the pedals, very nice. Then we're gonna take the master cylinder, we're gonna sandwich it between the brake booster and the firewall. Then we're gonna hook up our reservoir, and in theory, 20 hours later, we should be done. So if you guys are out there pricing an auto manual conversion for 10 hours, it's not enough. It's at least 15 today. Because this portion here, you gotta do it slow, take your time. It's gonna take you at least 5 solid hours. All right, now let's get started. All right, so now we're gonna be installing the master cylinder. And the studs are pretty long that come in through the pedal box, so I'm gonna have to have Julie hold it in place so I can go inside and put the pedal box in place. So I'm gonna put this in here. All right, Julie, I need you to line up these 4 holes with those 4 holes, okay? Now I'm gonna come in with 4 studs. All right, so we got the master cylinder and plate in place. The 4 studs are in place. The pedal box is halfway bolted up. You're not gonna get to this hose when you put the master cylinder and the booster back in place, so it's very easy to get it now. This is an extension hose that's gonna hook up to the hydraulic line on the slave cylinder. This has a swivel. You can swivel it anywhere you want. Right now we're just gonna swivel it out of our way, put it over here. Now we're gonna snake the booster back in place. All right, so as you can see, this is a Nova. And you heard me say that I got everything for a Camaro, which everything works just fine. It's perfect. But this guy needs to be 1 inch longer. This hole does not meet the pinion where the brake pedal is. And so I have to extend this 1 inch. It's not adjustable or anything like that. It's okay. All you gotta do is mod it, cut it, add an inch, weld the 2 together, power through it, get the job done, charge the customer a couple hours. All right, so we have our rod. So what we gotta do is find a similar diameter rod, take an inch, maybe 1 1/8 inches, just to be safe. And then we'll put it back together again, and we should have brakes, the clutch pedals in, hook up the rod, and the hydraulics will be completed. The next step will be to bleed the system. All right, so the hardest part of the entire swap when it comes to the manual conversion has been completed. All I gotta do is find where I'm gonna put the reservoir for the clutch, that way I can bleed it. But this is gonna be probably the only 1976 Nova that's had an auto to manual conversion because they don't make a kit for it. Bruce and I put one together. And now that we know it works, maybe he'll put it on his lineup. So if you guys want an auto to manual conversion, make sure you check out Bruce at Modern Driveline. When we come back, we're gonna be doing the Summit Racing bucket seats to finish off the interior and install that shifter. Now you guys see I'm putting the Supra back together. You notice I went ahead and put a stock motor in it because I'm going to be building a forged motor to go back into it. So I went ahead and dropped off that Lexus block over at Don Ewing Auto Machine, and I'm going to go ahead and give him all these parts that I got from race winning brands. If you want reliability for all the cars that go fast and win those races, you got to go to race winning brands and look up things like JE pistons. Forged disc pistons for a 2JZ GTE comes with the floating wrist pins, the locks, and all the rings you need for your application. These are coated and they're gonna make a lot of horsepower. I've been using forged pistons from JE for decades. Also, they got Boost Line products, steel connecting rods. 6 of these are known to make over 1,500 horsepower in a 2JZ application in a 6-cylinder setup. And they also come with ARP 2000 bolts. This is a very nice set of connecting rods. And to control the engine, I'm gonna go ahead and use the Haltech Rebel computer. This has all the functionalities that I need to be able to control that computer and do whatever I need to it, along with input and output controls. So if you guys are building a reliable race car and you want peace of mind, go to Race Winning Brands.
Welcome back to more Sam's Garage, presented by NHOU. The Nova's got the power and the gears, now it's time to handle. We're bolting in Summit Racing tubular control arms front and rear, dropping in CPP coilovers with adjustable dampening, and swapping the rear leaf springs for a 2-inch drop. This car is about to ride like new.
All right, welcome back. It is time to upgrade the suspension. We're making all this power, now we have a manual conversion. It's time for a tubular front control arms, upper and lower with the Summit Racing. Got us a whole new set. We also got a set of the CPP coilovers with the adjustable ride height and ride control and dampening. So it's gonna be a really nice setup for this Nova. We're also gonna put new leaf springs in the back, dropping it 2 inches. First we're gonna do is install a new ball joint in the upper control arm. This is gonna be the hardest part of the whole install. You have to have these 4 shims in between the control arm and the ball joint. Then I'm gonna lube the bushings, and when we put the hardware in, it's gonna sandwich everything back up. And it just slips in like that. You guys saw that I went ahead and impacted my bolts on. There's no reason for me to do it with the vehicle on the ground because in this case, I got urethane bushings. If they were rubber bushings, they would get into a bind. So I would leave them loose, put the vehicle completely on the ground, then go ahead and tighten everything. All right, so when we're going to install the coilover, you can see that the control arm has a ledge where the shock goes into. And the threaded portion of the coilover shock doesn't fit in that opening. So I'm gonna have to take off this piece, go in from the top, and put this piece back on from the bottom, all right? Now, you see how you can control this shaft, all right? That's because I've got my controllers on complete zero. These have 19 slots, 19 notches, okay? I like to put them in the middle when I deliver it to the customer. But before I do, I have to be able to work this up and down, so I'm not gonna touch those because once I do, that is impossible to move. There's a ledge right here. I like to go like this so that one day the aluminum doesn't weld itself together. So I'm gonna put this one on first. I'm gonna put this piece in next. I'm gonna put this piece on flat. 5, 6, that's the 6th thread. I'm gonna go down like this on that 6th thread so that we're pretty close left and right. We have a bearing so that the spring can move freely, but there are 2 shims. It's going to sandwich the bearing just like this. Okay, right here. Okay. Come down, come all the way down. Stop. All right, guys, do not forget to install the grease fittings and grease them at least 5 pumps. You don't have to do any more than that and have it come out of the boot. Don't forget to do the one that you didn't install, which is the outer tie rod. Any other ones, go ahead and grease them up. Now we're gonna go ahead into the rear and install the leaf springs. Now it's very important, this is a unibody car. So on the rear, the leaf spring is held in with a cradle that is bolted to the body of the car. To get that bolt out, you got to pull the whole cradle down. And that's where you lift the car. So what we're going to do is put a dead man underneath the frame of the car. I'm going to lift the lift off and move the arm. Okay, get it out of your way so you don't run into it. Now we can get to the 3/9/16 bolts. We're going to bring it down. We're going to remove the U-bolts. Very important you guys spray, because there's going to be debris on these threads. The threads are long and you're going to create a lot of heat. So spray lube there, spray lube back here where your shackles are, because it looks like they've been in place for a year. I was going to say 50, but we put this rear end in last year, so I can't say 50. But it's the same hardware and the same bushing. We're going to reuse them again. All right, we got the suspension complete. This thing's gonna ride so nice, it's gonna ride brand new and have a lot better response and handling.
Sam's Garage is presented by NHOU. Welcome back to more Sam's Garage, presented by NHOU. The Nova's in the home stretch. The hydraulics are done, the suspension's dialed in, and now we're finishing up the interior right. We're cutting in the shifter, measuring up the custom drive shaft, and dropping in a pair of Summit Racing bucket seats to give this build the sports car feel it deserves.
All right, welcome back to our Nova project. We just got the most horrible portion done, which took 3 days. It didn't, it took 5 hours. The hydraulics inside is done, but before we put the bucket seats in, we gotta address the shifter. There's a small little issue with the shifter because we have this big round hole and the stick that we have to fit in between the floorboard of the car and the top of the transmission. Because it's got solid motor mounts in the back, this thing does not drop down at all to give me any room to snake this up in there. If I look up at the transmission, I can see that the old automatic shifter hole for the mounting point is dead on between these 2 points, but it's an inch off to the right. So I'm gonna use that hole up there as my reference, go over to the driver's side 1 inch and make a big giant hole saw the diameter of this hole here. Because I have a rubber boot here that's gonna seal the hole, I have another rubber boot on top that's gonna seal the hole with a flange, and then we're gonna have to do a bezel around it because the carpet has been cut a lot longer than this is. So someone, audio shop or an aftermarket console, is gonna have to go over the shifter so it covers up that spot where the carpet's been cut. The carpet's brand new, so there's no point replacing it. The last thing to do to really make it, give it that sport car feel is gonna be a couple of bucket seats. We took out the bench, went to Summit Racing, got a complete kit. In that kit, it's gonna include sliders for both seats and brackets to get rid of the bench seat and put the buckets in their place. The bench that we took out had 6 points where it bolted down. This is gonna have 8, but 2 of them go into the factory location and 2 of them do not. So we're gonna have to drill holes through the carpet and into the floor. You wanna be careful doing that because you don't wanna get the weaving of the carpet stuck onto your drill and just destroy it. So we're gonna do it slow. First, we're gonna see which bracket goes where, get an idea of what we need to do for our hardware, go in, put the 2 in, make our marks, put it all together. Then we're gonna take our rails, assemble them, make sure they work, slides work properly, put the seats in, and we're good to go. Okay, so we got the swap brackets installed. I got lucky using those can-cut drill bits. They did a really good job of keeping everything in place and making my hole. What I did was I made my marks. In the front, I made 1 small hole just to go down underneath and see what I'm looking at, okay? Because when you're going through the frame, you have no idea what's on the other side. So I went out, saw that I'm good, came back up, made 2 longer, bigger holes, put 2 long bolts in it. In the rear, I did the same thing. I lifted up the carpet first. I put my hole in, marked my area, put the carpet back down, grabbed a brand new razor blade. Very important, a brand new razor blade will work like butter. Made my holes for the rear, bolted the 2 brackets down with Julie's help, and we are ready to go. Now, on the passenger side, you'll see that it's kind of tweaked, right? The inside portion of the bracket is a little higher than the outside portion of the rear side of the bracket. But because we have this adjustability here on the front and rear, you'll be able to put the seat down straight, even though that's a little tweaked. So that step is completed. The next step is going to be to put our rails together on the bottom of our seats. Make sure that when you do this, that you have the correct seat on the correct side, because you want to make sure your reclining handle is going to be on the outside of the seats. And then you want to make sure that the bottom part where you slide back and forth is the passenger side this way, driver's side this way, and you'll be good to go. That's what's next. We're making America cool again, one manual conversion at a time. Took out that slush box. Automatics are really for race cars, mostly for drag racing. A stick shift belongs in all street cars. Modern Driveline really knocks it out the park when it comes to their customer service and the ability for you to be able to go and navigate their website and get exactly everything you need for your manual conversion to turn out exactly the way you want it. And this is probably the first 76 Nova in the country with a manual conversion, because there isn't a kit for it, but now there is. So if you guys have a 76, check out Modern Driveline, talk to Bruce and the boys, and they'll get you hooked up. And these new bucket seats really finished off the interior, made it really sporty, complements the rest of the car with the new suspension, tubular arms, extra handling. This thing is awesome. Eric, I think you may have finally done your final modification. Now all you gotta do is enjoy it.
And just like that, the 76 Nova is finally complete. A Modern Driveline manual conversion, dialed-in hydraulics, fully upgraded suspension from Summit Racing, and a sharp new interior to top it all off. Big thanks to Bruce at Modern Driveline and the team at Summit Racing for making this happen. We'll see you next time right here on Sam's Garage. Be sure to check out Sam's Garage on these other media platforms.